Hey everybody, Martial Apologist here again. And I know I don't actually do a whole lot of apologetics on here. I mean, I kind of am. It's not Christian apologetics, but still. Uh, Due to lots of conversations that I've had with people lately, I feel the need to address something that seems to me wrong by intuition, but perhaps it has a good point, and I don't think that it actually does have a good point. And that's the idea of representation of your people group in media. And the idea basically goes like this. Perhaps if you are a gay black woman, a lesbian black woman, you need to be represented, at least in part, perhaps proportionately or in whatever capacity, by a gay black woman in movie, TV, whatever. If they can't get a lesbian black woman, perhaps a gay black man, or perhaps at least a lesbian woman, or whatever, right? This whole idea that we need to intersectionally represent everyone. And I don't really disagree that it's okay to have representation of people. But I've given it quite a lot of thought, and for well over a year now. And the conclusion that I've come to is that's idiotic. First and foremost, if you have to... I don't know what representation means. Okay, does this mean I'm supposed to empathize or sympathize with characters who look more like me? And then, I'm less capable of doing it for characters that don't? That's ludicrous. Why? Why would that be the case? Every character I've ever liked in media, I've either empathized with because I could see myself becoming that villain, or I've empathized with because I could see myself acting like the hero, or the foil, or whoever the case may be, or I thought they were funny, or something of that nature. Completely irrespective of what they look like. I've been able to empathize and sympathize with characters who weren't even human, who weren't even beings that exist in this universe, or any other one than pure imagination. I mean, I watch anime, generally in Japanese, because I don't need my language to come through for me to care. I just need to be able to understand it, so that's what subtitles are good enough for, frankly. It's fine. But I love it because they're so emotive, and their characters are so well written, and, they're so well voice acted that, I feel myself drawn into it, and I can really zero in on, oh, this is that type of person as a person, and I understand what makes them tick, and therefore I can put myself in their shoes and understand where they're coming from. They don't have to be human. They don't have to look like any kind of a person I've ever even imagined before. And it's because it's so well acted and done, they're still so human that, of course, I can fully engage with that character perfectly. Now, there is a bit of a flip side to this, and that's that have I actually seen, you turn on whatever on the TV, and perhaps all the villains are brown people or black people or whatever the case may be. And it's like, well, you haven't really experienced what it's like for your entire whatever to be represented as the villain. And yes, I have. I'm a southern white straight male. I've absolutely seen my people be represented as a villain, and it's just never occurred to me to complain about it. I would say the majority of the villains on TV are male, white, straight, cisgendered, usually of ambiguous religion and philosophy. It kind of depends, but that's usually drilling down a little bit too far for the villain. And also the heroes. And frankly, given who has been behind the media since the time I was a child until pretty recently, and the demographics of the US, it's not really that odd that both the majority of the villains and the heroes would look like me. Because the majority of the people, until relatively recent times, looked like me. So that seems pretty normal, and now it's quite a bit more diverse. I would say it's probably pretty proportionately represented, to be honest. But yeah, I mean, if you're saying that, and I've heard stories of people that say that, well, you know, I've never seen anyone in a movie be really cool and really awesome that looked like me. I would suggest that you haven't been looking for them, probably ever in your whole life. But you know, maybe you're I don't even know. Maybe you're Laotian, or like, I don't know. Maybe you're from Madagascar or something. That's just like really not very many of you around in like most of America. You know, the people that look and have the cultural and linguistic and genetic heritage that you have and whatnot. And so maybe that's why. Maybe that is a thing for you. But, I mean, is it really that shocking in that case? Is that a problem that needs to be solved? I would say that it isn't. You probably, if you go to Madagascar, everybody on TV looks like you. And if you go to Laos, probably everybody talks and looks like you. Because, obviously, when the majority of the population is like that, or the majority of the population is one of 50 things that are just not you, not really that surprising that most media doesn't portray you. And when it does, perhaps it's inaccurate, because frankly, there aren't that many of you known to the people behind that media. And maybe that's a problem. Sure, go ahead. You know, don't go portraying people groups without actually understanding them. I can get behind that, that's cool. But, you know, the idea that for some reason I'm supposed to feel especially good because someone in a movie somewhere looks, talks, acts, and has the same arbitrary background as me, even if the actor doesn't really, but, you know, they're portrayed as this. And I like that character, that's supposed to somehow make me feel good about myself, makes no sense to me whatsoever. I mean, this is coming from a guy who lives vicariously through, you know, icons in football. Alright, I get what I do with that, but I don't for a minute pretend that, you know, the Tennessee Titans being good actually, in reality, reflects on me being good. I mean, it's the team that kind of represents the state in a certain way, and so you take a certain amount of pride in the team that you support and cheer for and get behind and whatnot, to that end. But I don't pretend that it actually affects, you know, like how I feel about the quality of myself as a person in society. That would be asinine. So I don't understand the point. If the point is that I need someone to look like me to empathize with them, then I'm a racist. If the point is that I want proportional representation, we kind of already do that. Maybe not perfectly. I think it's, you know, you can't expect perfect representation, especially because, like, actors are grown people, so they had to start acting when they were, like, 3 years old and kind of go up from there, and there is a lot involved with, you know, money and finances and all of that. It's admittedly a lot more difficult for somebody like a black person in America to, you know, statistically likely be represented in the media, especially accurately. It's very hard. Unless you're talking about music, in which case it's like the top 10 is like all people of African descent. For all the pop charts, and maybe one or two that aren't, but still. The majority of the popular songs are currently not white country people, let me tell you that. But if that's your point, then I think we're doing a reasonably good job of it. If your point is that I need to be able to see women doing things, not stereotypical of women, then I want to know why, because, I mean, if it's not stereotypically feminine, it's probably stereotypically masculine, because there aren't really too many other options regarding stereotypes. There's gender neutral, feminine, and masculine. And, I mean, I don't know. Some people seem to want to say, I want to see a woman kicking butt, like I can, if I really tried. Well, I'm sorry, but fighting is actually masculine, and if you want to see a woman kicking butt, you want to see a woman represented who's masculine. I'm not going to apologize for that. That's true. Fighting, aggressiveness is... They even list toxic masculinity. One of the primary things of it is aggressiveness and physically confrontational. So make up your mind. Do you want to see a woman be toxically masculine? Pick one. You can't have both. It doesn't make sense to have both. You can't say it's good for women to be aggressive, but not for men. It doesn't work that way. So, I don't get it. I've thought about it. I've read about it. I've talked to people about it, and I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't know why. I remember years ago the Jokiero Taco Bell dog. I don't know what the name of the dog was, so I have to call it that. It was a Chihuahua, and people were upset because they're like, that dog is representing my culture. And I'm like, how sad is your life that you care about a talking dog in a commercial that is Tex-Mex food? And that dog was bred in Mexico, in Texas. And would you prefer a Rottweiler? Did you not like the accent? Why are you mad? You want representation, but no, you don't. I mean, maybe not the same people, to be fair. It could be a whole... I mean, it was about a generation ago now. But I don't get it. I don't get what the big deal with representation is. I'm going to close with this. I have never felt even remotely represented by any media of any kind. Comic books, movies, television. None of it. Ever. I see a character, I understand them or I don't, I empathize with them or I don't. And nothing about their physical appearance or mannerisms really has anything to do with it. And again, perhaps if it does for you, you have problems and you need to fix them.